Alors, cette session porte sur les regards croisés régionaux et on va parler d'exemples de mobilité pour les étudiants, les professeurs et coopération internationale. Ladies and gentlemen, s'il vous plaît. S'il vous plaît. Please. Chut. Bon, d'accord. Alors, il est pas 11 heures, il est 11h10. Donc, nous allons absolument devoir terminer à 11h35. And again, I will be merciless. So if you have a point to make it quickly, or else I will cut you off. Sorry about that, but that's the role they gave me. Alors, chaque intervenant va parler de son projet et on est 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alors, chacun a 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. More or less. But I will cut you off. Alors, premier intervenant, Dr. Balthazar NTIVUGURUZWA, recteur de l'Université catholique de Kabgayi au Rwanda.
Merci beaucoup. Je m'appelle Balthazar, je suis recteur de l'Université catholique, de l'Institut catholique de Kabgayi au Rwanda. Je vous remercie pour l'invitation et je voudrais d'abord m'excuser. J'ai reçu l'invitation hier vers 16h. La personne qui était prévue n'est pas arrivée. Et puis, je suis tout nouveau comme recteur. Je n'ai pas encore célébré un anniversaire. Voilà, j'ai essayé de glaner quelques idées que je voudrais vous proposer. La mobilité des étudiants et des professeurs, c'est un de nos souhaits les plus ardents que nous espérons voir se réaliser effectivement et au sein de notre fédération. Si cela se réalisait effectivement, notre fédération aura été vraiment catholique. Je voudrais parler à partir du point de vue de notre université et peut-être aussi de plusieurs universités en Afrique. Un des défis majeurs de nos universités est celui de la pauvreté. Pauvreté en termes d'effectifs et de qualification du personnel académique. En ce qui concerne la mobilité des professeurs, chez nous, pour parier ce problème, des universités se partagent quelques professeurs avec soit un statut de visiteur, professeur visiteur, soit avec un statut de professeur permanent. Mais il y a aussi un problème aussi qui survient, c'est qu'en Afrique, et principalement dans notre pays, le Rwanda, ces professeurs sont visiteurs et permanents dans plusieurs institutions, dans plusieurs endroits. Et souvent, le rendement laisse à désirer, car ils n'ont pas assez de temps pour préparer leurs cours, ils n'ont pas le temps pour accompagner les étudiants. Et souvent, la relation qui nous unit avec ces professeurs, c'est souvent la relation d'argent, de salaire. Nous recourons aussi aux professeurs des pays voisins. Dans notre université, nous recourons principalement aux professeurs venant du Kenya et de l'Ouganda. Et cela entraîne un coût très très élevé pour payer leurs prestations. Et nos budgets sont souvent vacillants par rapport à cela. Au niveau de notre région, surtout de la région en Afrique de l'Est, nous avons une association des universités d'Afrique de l'Est, Inter-University Council of East Africa, qui a commencé à initier le programme de la mobilité des professeurs, mais on se rend compte qu'à la fin, on devient comme le serpent qui se mord la queue. On voudrait en avoir, mais on n'en a pas parce que justement l'effectif, le nombre ne suffit pas. Et on se heurte toujours au problème des finances. Et chez nous, le problème de mobilité des professeurs est lié au problème de nos finances. Nous avons un problème de former notre personnel académique au niveau du doctorat. Cela coûte cher. Et puis alors, les salaires sont maigres. Nous recevons aucun subside de la part de l'État, aucune autre source de revenus, excepté les frais payés par les étudiants. À propos de la mobilité des étudiants, dans notre université, nous avons initié en 2012 un partenariat interuniversitaire avec une école de commerce de Lyon. Et nous avons accueilli ces étudiants qui sont venus pour un semestre. Mais le programme n'a pas continué. Et dans l'article du partenariat, de l'accord, il était stipulé, l'ICECA pourra renforcer ses capacités en se dotant d'enseignants permanents qualifiés, formés par cette école de commerce de Lyon. Et les étudiants de cette école, pourront découvrir la réalité des problématiques du développement d'un pays d'Afrique subsaharienne et d'un enseignement en milieu multiculturel. C'était vraiment au début un accord gagnant-gagnant. Ce que je voudrais dire à la fin, à la conclusion, c'est peut-être une exhortation que je tire de la lettre de Saint-Pierre. La parole de Dieu nous dit, ce que chacun de nous a reçu, chacun de vous a reçu comme don de la grâce, mettez-le au service des autres comme de bons gérants de la grâce de Dieu sous toutes ses formes. Toutes ces formes de la grâce de Dieu peuvent se décliner en termes de temps, d'expérience, de compétences, d'expertise, de nos richesses culturelles, de nos richesses matérielles et de moyens financiers. Alors j'ai un rêve, je voudrais terminer par un rêve. I have a dream. Nous sommes en train de célébrer le 50e anniversaire du discours de Martin Luther King. I have a dream. Alors, ce rêve, c'est de voir dans nos aéroports un contingent de professeurs qui ont un badge ou un t-shirt ou un petit drapeau inscrit Association des professeurs sans vacances ou Association des professeurs sans frontières. Un autre rêve que j'ai, et le dernier, c'est de voir un cortège des géants qui portent sur les épaules des nains. Qui est géant, qui est nain? Peut-être tout être humain est quelque part à la fois géant et nain. Ce que je voudrais dire, c'est que nous avons besoin de nous épauler, de nous porter les uns les autres, et nous avons besoin d'être portés aussi par les autres. Merci.
Alors, next speaker, Professeur Wojciech ZYZAK, recteur de l'Université pontificale de Jean-Paul II et vice-président de la FUCE.
Oh, merci beaucoup. My name is Wojciech ZYZAK. I represent the Pontifical University John Paul II in Krakow in Poland. And the first question when we discuss the problem of mobility for students and professors is, I think, this is the problem of money. Who will pay for this mobility? And we are in Europe, in the European Union, really very, very happy because we have this Erasmus Plus project. Here in Dublin, there's a beautiful garden, St. Stephen's Green, and in this garden now is a very interesting exposition dedicated to 30 years of this project, Erasmus Plus. And in this exposition, we can see the photos of young couples with children, couples that met during this experience of Erasmus. And so we see this is not only a scientific project, but also a very important personal experience. And I think very important for Europe to overcome divisions, to work together, to reconcile different points of view, to learn cooperation. This is very important for us to study or teach in another country, to build an open European Union, especially in these hard times in the face of nationalism also in Europe. It's clear that studying abroad improves employment prospects because it's not only the possibility to study, it's also a possibility to take part in internships abroad. And I represent a small institution. We have only 3,000 students, but we are really very happy because every year almost 100 students go abroad and come to us. This is one side of this problem. On the other hand, I have to mention that we send always the best students, the students that speak foreign languages, that are very talented. And this is the experience of less rich countries in Europe, that we send the students abroad to richer countries, and they very often don't want to come back. So this mobility is on the one hand, opportunity for the people, but on the other hand, is also a little bit problematic for the countries that are not so rich, because it becomes sometimes another type of brain drain. I think about 100,000 young people from Poland that are now in Ireland, and in the same time we have more than 1 million people from the Ukraine looking for better life. So this is also an aspect of mobility. And in the European context, I'd like to underline another thing that seems to be typically European problem, but it's not. It means, I mean the migrants problem. 1 minute, yes. And we have this project here in IFCU. It means Refugee Lab. And we signed last year in Rome another agreement, refugee and migrant education network. And I think it's very important. It's also a part of this program of migration. My time is done. Thank you.
Next speaker, Monseigneur Leslie Morris, President Xavier Board of Higher Education, India.
India is a subcontinent with a federal structure, 22 official languages, 1,600 plus languages. But lucky for the colonial rule, most of the higher education is in English, which makes it possible for mobility of students as well as professors. India, for more than 60 years, has the government a project called Indo-Cultural Relations Exchange Program. About 3,000 students are selected by the government of India from across the globe who apply and who qualify, who study for 3 years or 5 years in India, which itself is a big thing. In a university where I was teaching, we had students from 32 countries studying with us, a graduate or a postgraduate program. Besides, a number of our colleges have MOUs with some of the universities in the United States, in Europe, where students come for a semester or for a year and study what is being taught in our colleges or universities, and the credits are exchanged and they get their degrees in their parent universities. Compared to the cost which is involved, the cost which is involved in India for studies is very, very minimal, especially for those who come from Europe and US. The cost for studies is very minimal, except probably the travel cost. But what they get back is something very, very enriching. Most of the students who come there come with a different view of India and go back enriched with the rich culture, the rich the diversity that is there in India, and a different picture of India altogether, how unity is possible in spite of diversity of languages and cultures and religions. Regarding the mobility of the professors, we have, as it has been already said, the cost is the main concern. We do organize, whenever there is a conference or something like that, as some professors visiting, a couple of colleges join together and we try to use their services for maybe guest lectures. But professors coming to teach a full semester or a year is something which is expensive, it's not possible. We are sometimes exploring the possibility of online Skype teaching where we can have an interaction. Other than that, the government is quite open for students, and Indian students going abroad is really a sizable one. Most of the Australian universities, the Middle East universities, the European universities, the US universities come to market their courses in India because the number of students who go is quite a big number. Some of them cannot afford it, but bank loans are available, which they repay later. But that way the mobility is possible. And I feel that this type of mobility for students is really very good because it brings greater solidarity, which IFCU has been speaking about. And I think in IFCU there has to be probably rethinking about solidarity. I pose this question to the whole assembly because we speak of solidarity. I think when we speak of solidarity, the IFCU has to probably take a concrete decision how that solidarity can be concretized in exchange programs, probably exchanging of professors, exchanging of teachers, maybe adapting some of the colleges or universities for specific projects, which I'm sure will bring about greater solidarity and something make IFCU really effective. Thank you.
Next presenter, Dr. Francisco Gomez Ortiz, Rector of the Catholic University. No? Yes? No? Yeah. Yes,
Catholic
yes, Catholic University of Colombia and Regional Vice President of ODUCAL.
Well, I will try because I have a presentation, but since we have only 5 minutes, I will try to present it very quickly. I would like to thank the FIUC for this invitation and for giving microphone. Okay. I would like to thank the FCO for this invitation and for giving me the opportunity to share with all this space. I want to begin with my initial thoughts on the topic that is being addressed by this panel, to then convey certain trends revealed by a recent study on internationalization in Latin America, which provides a context to discuss the mechanisms that we currently have for integration and for other initiatives that we may explore. Since the end of the Second World War, the world has moved towards converging on the idea that there are universal values and interests that needed to be promoted. The promotion of human rights, the importance of global cooperation, the need to advance towards sustainable development, and the value of education as an engine for progress and social changes are just some of these common interests that have driven our collective actions. Throughout the years, these interests have combined and consolidated in certain cases with the idea that we are living in the era of globalization, which has enabled us to interact, communicate, and transport better and faster. But these wonderful changes are facing processes that in a certain way may be contradictory to the spirit of globalization. We are dealing with a perception that this is skeptic about migratory dynamics from south to north or about benefits derived from free trade between nations. This creates a need to think and act under different paradigms that fit these new realities in several scenarios, breaking away from stereotypes and prejudices that has been wrongfully created regarding the concept of what is global. Internationalization is a part of administrating universities and is without doubt a trend in higher education. Internationalization is a part of university management and without a doubt is a trend in higher education. It is always important to ask ourselves, what is the purpose behind internationalization? Why do we do it? The answer may depend on the nature of each institution, on the intensity that each one assigns to it. We may use it solely to recruit new students. Our objective may be to fulfill standards relative to quality assurance processes. It may be to strengthen our institution in academic terms, or just for the mobility of students and professors. The importance of this reflection is to outline the actions and strategies to be implemented, and the answer to these questions, we either have them or are working on them. I would like to skip some of the slides, but go to the state of internationalization in Latin America. This year, the Regional Observatory on Internationalization and Tertiary Education Network of UNESCO released the first regional survey on trends of internationalization of tertiary education in Latin America and the Caribbean. The survey collected the answers of 377 institutions of 22 countries of the region. Of course, this is not the first survey, and it's not the only one. But I use it as a reference because it's the most recent, and I am sure that the results are conclusive and interesting for the panel, since they allow us to know the points of view of our region and what we want us of integration with with other regions. Briefly, I'm going to share some of the findings that will also allow us to identify where we can develop collaboration liaisons. Main benefits of internationalization for the universities of this study: develop the international profile of students, is the first one. Second, improve the academic quality of education programs. And third, strengthen the internationalization of the curriculum. Main external factors of this study driving internationalization in the universities in South America are, in Latin America, government policies, the first one, regional policies, the third one, international cooperation offers, the fourth one, search for alternative funding, demand of the production sector, and global university rankings. The risk of internationalization for the universities in this survey, the first risk is international opportunities benefits students with economic resources. benefits disparities among partners, and mostly benefits an elite of scholars. Main institutional obstacles for internationalization. The first one is insufficient funding, insufficient proficiency in foreign languages of students and faculty, and the third one, administrative and bureaucratic burdens. And the last part is the priority regions for this internationalization is Western Europe is the first destiny, Latin America and the Caribbean is the second, the third one is North America, fourth Asia and Eastern Europe. The main internationalization activities we have is student mobility 97%, mobility of scholars 88%, participation in development international cooperation 68%, and development of joint and double programs with foreign institutions. And I will stop it because I have more slides of what we are doing in mobility, but time is ended.
Just a quick reminder, most of the presentations will be on the IFCU website after the General Assembly, so if you wish to delve in a little deeper, then you'll have access to the PowerPoints or to the text, and so we'll honor your contributions that way. The other point is that 6 universities have not voted yet. Prochain intervenant, Dr. Herminio V. DAGOHOY, président de ASEACCU et recteur de St. Thomas University.
Okay, good morning. I would not allow Chantal to cut me, so. ASEACCU is so diverse and so varied, so this presentation is definitely would not capture the diversity of the region, which is actually composed of Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, Indonesia, the Philippines, Australia, and the most recent Cambodia. So this is just to highlight our undertaking in the university. So just a little bit of promotion. So University of Santo Tomas is 35,000. We have 35,000 students with 2,000 faculties, 800 staff. We have 408 international students taking full-time course in the university. This number does not include the exchange students, those who are in the university for 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months exposure. We don't have first-year and second-year students in the Philippines, so these are practically those who are staying with us for the past 3 years. So we have 100 undergraduate programs, 49 masters, and 22 doctoral degree offerings in the university. We have 4-star rated university and part of the 200 best universities in Asia. This is our brand. And our internationalization is informed by 407 years of existence, our vision of values of Catholic institution. We educate our students to be leaders in these particular areas, and we provide them learning environment that would actually provide them and expose them to research, innovation, and engagement in social community extension services. As a Pontifical and Catholic university in Asia, the UST opens its door to deserving students from all faith traditions. Now, we understand internationalization as not only as a matter of mobility. Internationalization of our students means that our students should understand the global context or the environment within which they live, study, and work, and that they should be adept and comfortable in living and working in a global environment. With the looming ASEAN integration and the need for our students and faculty to be in touch with the rest of the Asian region and the rest of the world, internationalization should also be, there should be an internationalization at home, because not all our students could afford to go elsewhere, and that is very important. So what are our strategies? So let me summarize our strategies or approaches into 4: process, activity, competency, and ethos. Integration of an international intercultural dimension into teaching, innovation, and research. This is very important because our curricula and activities should be imbued with international or intercultural inputs. So our students do not need to go elsewhere. Those who can afford can, but those who remain should have a clear understanding of what internationalization should be. And this process is articulated into different activities. Our curricula is definitely being re-engineered to have that dimension. The research program, students exchange, faculty, technical assistance, and the presence of our international students. This internationalization should also be translated into competencies and skills that our students should have, our professors should exercise, and our own staff. And last but not the least, and I think very important to mention, we should cultivate an ethos of international undertaking in our university. And so many activities and definitely programs and procedures in our respective universities should reflect that kind of international ethos. Example of our student mobility programs, we have sandwich program, meaning to say our students can study 1 year abroad and finish this program in the Philippines for another 3 years. We have research attachments, internship, language, summer programs, study programs, and disciplinary specific exchanges. Yes. So, now I'm going to the challenges, because this is very important. The challenge of internationalization, our challenges are the need to create an enabling environment on internationalization on top-down and bottom-up support. It's very important. Engaging the faculty in a continuous sustainable development program on internationalization. Our faculty should be aware of that. Second, fidelity to the implementation. It couldn't change 1 year and then another year you have another one. Establishing research-driven cutting-edge curricular programs and potential for attracting a significant number of international talents. So, with the past 5 years, we have seen how our professors are engaged in different programs in research, so much so that we have quite a number of cross-border fundings from different agencies, and we have a very good number of collaborators in research undertakings. So thank you very much.
Next and last presenter, Dr. Michael GALLIGAN-STIERLE, President of ACCU.
Good morning. I have 3 major points to advance. 1, some facts. Number 2, some challenges and opportunities. And number 3, how to advance global engagement with your schools and the schools within the United States, if that's of interest. So some simple facts. Point 1, if on the screen you will find a dozen, you'll see a fast facts page. It's 2 pages long. It basically says that 1 million students go from the United States out and 300,000 students come in. But in Catholic colleges, the majority of our 250 schools have students come in and come out. Our Catholic universities do this at a higher rate than our publics and our other faith-based schools. Of note, we have schools that excel in having students come in and students that excel at students going out. And this short monograph spells that out. So, for example, the leading schools would be Fordham, Georgetown, and DePaul, or University of San Francisco going, accepting students, the largest number. But those campuses that send students in the other direction would be University of San Diego, University of Notre Dame, Loyola, Maryland, University of Dayton, Georgetown University. So Students coming in and going out at our schools is different, just like everywhere else in the world. But we have 250. And you can find these fast fact pages on our website, and there's a dozen of them about our schools. This one happens to be the one on internationalization. Number 2, challenges and opportunities. I would agree with my colleagues. The number 1 challenge, especially with mobility, is the finances. In the United States, there's been a significant change in methodology and how we export our students. So please note this, that many of our universities now are actually creating campuses off-site to export their students there rather than partnering with schools like yours. And this is significantly because this is a significant change because the university then can control the money and the degree program in more ways than if they do the interaction. And this is not good news in terms of partnering, but I have to be honest with you, it is the latest trend that I see with our schools. They don't even work together well in the United States in these exporting adventures. The challenge here, obviously, is financial, both in faculty coming and going and students coming and going, and the exchange rate, et cetera. So that is far and away the number 1 challenge. But the benefits are rich when they can happen well, exposing students, exposing faculty to the beauty and the grandeur of God's creation worldwide, the wonder and the enrichment that happens by gaining one another's culture and understanding how people of faith around the globe manifest that in different ways. Third point, if you want to advance global engagement with schools in the United States, I would strongly recommend that you think well past the MOU model that has been used often. And I have to say that at least once a month I get an email or a phone call from some school like one of yours that wants to come to the United States and engage with our office and to help be a bridge to our schools. So it's a common factor about what I'm about to talk about. I would suggest that you think much more past an MOU. There's actually 5 or 6 key dimensions that our schools look for when they look to partner. A clear articulation commitment by your school that it's more than just the rector or the president. Second, that there's necessary staffing on your campus so that when students were to go from our campus to your campus or vice versa, that both parties would feel comfortable. Third, that the curriculum and the learning objectives are actually going to benefit the students' mobility and the students' career path. Fourth, that faculty policies or practices as we do a swapping exercise are in place in an appropriate way. Fifth, that student mobility is possible by visas, etc. I'm often surprised that people are not aware of some of the blocks that will happen if they match with our schools before they even try to set something up. So having some foresight about that is really important. All done. Thank you.